the upcoming Supreme Court ruling on the tariffs, and those coveted $2,000 stimulus checks or $2,000 dividend payments, as the president likes to call them, and what the betting market, otherwise known as the poly market, is saying about the odds of the Supreme Court keeping the tariffs in place or striking them down. We're going to talk about all of that right here in this video, as we are only days away from a potential decision out of the Supreme Court. What would this mean? And if the Supreme Court actually does strike down the tariffs, like many people are betting that they will, does that mean it's game over for those $2,000 payments? I'm going to tell you this much right now, right here, as we start this video. That's not all game over. In fact, the administration has made it very clear they will work immediately to reinstate the bulk of those tariffs in different means that they've already identified. They will get that money going again. It is definitely not all over, but there are hundreds of billions of dollars on the line right here, as the United States government has already collected hundreds of billions of dollars just in the last 1 year's time with these tariffs and the duties that have been put in place. Well, we're going to talk about all that. Plus, I have this article right here. I'm going to pop this up in just a second. We're going to talk about all the details that are encompassed within here, the dollar amounts as far as what has already been collected from the United States government, the betting market or the poly market odds of the Supreme Court keeping the tariffs in place or striking them down, what this means going forward, and the next date on the calendar. I'll give you a quick little hint. It's only days away from right now, and when the Supreme Court could potentially be ruling. All right, anyway, let's pop this up right here right now. Feel free to read through the details on this. Here is what we know as of right now. So in just a matter of days, on Friday, it is anticipated that the Supreme Court may have a potential decision. Does not guarantee that they will. Nobody knows when they're going to do it. Obviously, except for the Supreme Court justices. They probably have a pretty good idea of when they're going to be doing this, but this could be the potential next time in which we hear out of the Supreme Court they're ruling on the tariffs. Now, here's the deal. As you can see in this article here, poly market, in other words, the betting market, has a 28% likelihood that the Supreme Court will keep those tariffs in place. In other words, they're betting that the Supreme Court has a 72% chance or likelihood of actually striking the tariffs down. It's not very good odds, is it? Right? If you were placing bets there, I think you know which side you'd be betting on there, right? Now, if the Supreme Court actually does strike down the tariffs, like I said, is it all over for those $2,000 payments? Not necessarily. The administration has already identified at least three more ways that they could reinstate the tariffs, just in different ways, practically immediately, that they could get that money start flowing again. Now, it's going to take a little while to get the amount of revenue flow generated like they're going to be, or that they're getting right now, but ultimately they would do it. They would reinstate this immediately, and they would get that money back, okay? So here's the deal. We know this about the president. Again, this is not supposed to be a political video whatsoever, but we know this much. If the president is told that he can't do something, guess what he's going to do? He's going to do it. You know what I mean? So we all already know this about the president. Anytime that somebody challenges him or says, no, you can't do that, or we disagree, he's like, you know what? I'm going to do it now, right? You told me I can't, I'm going to do it, okay? So he does that, and we know that if the Supreme Court works against him, he will find a way, and the administration will find a way to reinstate these tariffs and get that money flowing back into the United States. He's basically suggesting that the United States is toast if we don't have these tariffs coming in and these revenues, because he believes that we really, really, really need that money coming into the United States. So basically, this is his initiative. He's been talking about it for a very long time, and it's a very important thing to this administration. So either way, they're going to have this reinstated no matter what. Now, here's the deal. Just in 2025 alone, they brought in over $260 billion, $264 billion in tariff revenues just in 2025. Here's the deal. In January of this year, 2026, they generated over $30 billion in tariff revenue. So here's the deal. They're generating about $1 billion a day from these revenue or from these tariffs, okay? This would be a lot of money that the United States would potentially need to pay back, but they've also already indicated if the Supreme Court strikes down these tariffs, that they're not paying that money back. They've pretty much made it very clear, there's going to be way too many problems here. There's going to be way too many hurdles. We can't pay that money back. So if you strike them down, well, tough luck. You're not getting the money back, right? So this will be very interesting. But remember this much as well, and I want to throw this out there, just some really quick numbers to think about, which is this. when we originally got this proposal or the idea out of the president to distribute this $2,000 payment to huge percentages of the population, right? We got these estimates that were out there indicating that it would cost anywhere between about $300 and $600 billion. Well, remember, I just said in 2025 alone, they brought in over $260 billion in tariff revenues. We're practically, right there. Well, taking into consideration what they've collected so far this year. Okay, so just taking into consideration January. Last year, 264. This year, over 30 billion so far. So that's just under $300 billion. That's right at the low end of what they would need to actually distribute these $2,000 payments. Remember, they need between $300 and $600 billion, according to the calculations, according to the reports that came out right after the president announced this. Okay, well, we're basically at $300 billion already. So there you go. If we wait until the end of this year, they will literally have about $600 billion of duties that they've collected, and that'd be enough to send out on the low end, easily the $300 billion, easily they could do it there. And on the high end, $600 billion, they could easily do it there if they took all of the tariff revenues over the last basically 2 years, 2025 and 2026, and basically distributed that money. Okay, so point is, there's a lot of money at stake here. I mean, like a lot of money, hundreds of billions of dollars. We're talking a ton of money here. So this decision coming out of the Supreme Court is going to be very, very influential, and this is going to be a very big one. Now, remember, this coming Friday, just a couple days from right now, is when this decision could be released. Now, it does not guarantee that it's going to be released. It's just simply that's when the Supreme Court could announce their ruling on the tariffs. We will see about this. I'm going to anticipate this much. I wouldn't be shocked if they milk this out a little bit further, because it's going to cause chaos. Okay, their decision, if they strike these tariffs down, it's going to cause some chaos. Let's just say that much. We already know this, right? We're very prepared. We know it's going to cause chaos. It's going to cause a lot of drama. But at the end of the day, they will be back, okay? They're going to do it a different way. They've already identified 3 different ways, like I mentioned earlier, to basically reinstate these tariffs, or at least the revenues coming in from them. They'll certainly get this back. If there's a will, there's a way, and there is a way, and there's certainly the will to do it, and they're going to do it, okay? So we are not out of the woods here. We will have to see what happens here, but this is very, very big, and I want to throw this out there super fast, which is this. Let's just say that the Supreme Court comes in and they strike down the tariffs. I guarantee you're going to see headlines all over the place and say, that's it, no more $2,000, you're not getting it anymore, it's game over, that's it, they're all gone, the president can no longer do this. I would push back on that simply because they've already indicated very, very clearly that they're going to reinstate some of these duties. They're going to reinstate them. So the revenues the revenues might drop off for a little while, but ultimately they're going to get it back. Okay, they're going to get it back, and they're going to find a way to do it. So we'll have to see what happens here. And again, we're still waiting on that very important announcement out of the Supreme Court. Still don't know when it's going to happen, except for this coming Friday. Could be the next time in which they may have a ruling on that. Maybe. We will see what happens here. No promises whatsoever. Nobody knows except for the Supreme Court justices. And obviously, they're not going to tell us, right? They're not going to say, yeah, we're going to do it on this day. There's speculation, but nobody really knows when that's going to happen. Either way, very important decision coming out here. I'll certainly keep it posted. As we get more information on any of this right now, I will certainly bring it to your attention immediately. But I hope this helps you out. Drop your comments, your questions, your feedback down below. Otherwise, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. 100% free. Big subscribe button down below. Please share the video. Big share button right down below as well. Otherwise, let me know what else I can do for you. Drop your comments down below. Again, it's a crazy time out there right now. Very, very busy stuff. And a lot of money on the line right now for a lot of different people, for the government as a whole, the American people, a lot of things that are happening. All right, anyway, please have a nice day. Hope this helps you. Enjoy. Thanks again for subscribing. Please share the video. Check out the other 6,300 plus videos here on the channel in the video library. Otherwise, until next time, have a nice day. Take care, and I'll catch you later.